Welcome everyone. In this second part of the demand analysis, we'll be analyzing the elasticity of the demand and the various factors affecting their elasticity and its uses. So let's get into the topic. So when we come into the demand, we need to go about the talk about the elasticity also. So when we say elasticity, it is about the change in the demand with respect to the change in the factors. So normally when we have the factors, we have several factors like income, price, and product like related goods, all this stuff. But when the most common thing we discuss is the price of the product. So we will be considering on most on the price elasticity of the product. So we just discussed on the price, what is the elasticity. So how it is changing, all this being with this and price elasticity. So we just discussed what major elasticities. First one is the price elasticity. The price elasticity says about the change in the quantity demanded at the given price. So when the price is changed, the demand automatically gets changed. And income is changed, that becomes the change in the demand, and that becomes the income elasticity. And the substitute product plays a role, then it becomes the cross elasticity of the demand. So it is about the change of the rate. So the price elasticity says about the rate of change of demand to the rate of change in price. So based on the relativity, we have the definition proportional change. This is one of the standardized definition, and we can say that this is the calculation for the calculation of price elasticity, where proportional change in demand quantity demanded by the proportional change in the price, change in price by price divided by, sorry, change in demand by the original demand divided by change in price by the original price. That gives the price elasticity. So when we say about the price elasticity, that we have 5 types of elasticity. First is perfectly elastic, and absolutely or perfectly inelastic, and unit elastic, and relatively elastic, and relatively inelastic. So there are not all the goods having the same properties. Let us consider we have the food. Whether we have the staple food rice in South India and North India, we have wheat, and most of the worlds have the foods, staple foods. That staple food item, even the price is getting raised. Now cannot forsake that. So mostly every people will be trying to have this. So that kind of food items will be there. That they will be coming under inelastic demand. But if for a small change in price, there is a huge change in the quantity demanded, then becomes the perfectly elastic. And there is the relation, then it goes with unit and relatively elastic and relatively inelastic demand. So we will get into it in the next segment. So we will now discuss on the perfectly elastic demand. So perfectly elastic, that means there is no change. If that is, if a very small change in demand happens, then the entire system will collapse. So like this perfect demand is very crucial. At a given price, there will be no, you can sell all the whatever the quantity they can sell. And if there is no, if the price is getting increased, then automatically the demand will get affected it severely. So it can be said the elasticity is called as an infinity and absolutely inelastic demand. So this says about the price. The price doesn't affect the demand. It is absolutely inelastic. So whenever you raise the price or reduce the price, it will be the quantity demanded will be remains the same. So it will be like a staple food, or it will be like a daily household food. Like that, it will be the products will be. Unit elasticity of demand. The unit elasticity of demand says there is a equal proportion on change in the quantity demanded at the change and the change in the price level. So if that both are in the same level, then it is called as a unit elasticity. That we can say the elasticity value is being given as 1, as you can see here. And we can say that the slope of the curve, demand curve will be of a rectangular hyperbola. And relatively elastic demand. This is one of the most common graphs available on the demand analysis. So most of the analysis will have this relatively elastic demand. The relatively elastic demand will have some rise factors of both the elasticity, absolute elasticity, and inelasticity. And it's not equal to 1, but it is greater than 1. Sometimes which is closer and sometimes it is a little far. Okay, so this is relative to elastic, and that is elasticity greater than 1 is called as a relatively elastic. Similar to the relatively elastic, the relatively inelastic says it will be having close to the inelasticity. So whenever the price is getting reduced or changed, the demand is also getting affected, but the proportion will be very, very less. Example, uh, we can take about the food items. Whatever the price is getting raised, the we will be try to reduce have the food, we'll be trying to have the food, but we will be reducing the quantity in a very, very small space, about 5%. If the price is increased by 10%, we'll try to reduce at least for 5%. Above 5% we will be affecting the health also. So like that we will be having a relative food, relative rations. Okay, so these are some of the factors determining the price elasticity of the demand. Just as the demand factors, the price elasticity is also depend on the similar factors also for the demand elasticity. Let's example the nature of product. If there is a product of getting rotten within 2 days, then automatically there won't be much demand for it. Or extent of usage. If it is on long use, the demand will be high, but the elasticity will be almost like a unit or less than relatively inelastic. Okay, and availability of substitute. If substitute is available there, automatically it will goes into the relatively completely elastic demand or relatively elastic, because most people will try to move into substitutes. And income level, if the people cannot afford, then automatically the demand falls. And these are like this, these factors will be playing a role. And what is the importance and applications? Price fixation. So whenever we buy a product, how the price is fixed? This through the analysis, the elasticity analysis, demand analysis, and it involves price elasticity analysis also. Price fixation for factors of production, how much, and this means about how much to allot for the product to be manufactured, and what are the process which we can follow for production, and public finance around into implementing the government policies and international trades. These are some of the factors. So we just discussed on the various factors, law of demand and the factors and the elasticity in the demand. Thank you.